Welcome to this week's episode of Podcaster Trendy. I'm your host, Jason Graham. Today we're sitting down with Sharon Hurst, who is in some ways a modern-day miracle. Sharon has been with DNY for almost a quarter of a century. Thank you for joining us today, Sharon. First off, let me say congratulations on your recent anniversary. It's a pretty remarkable milestone.
Thank you. Makes me feel old. I did start when I was 8 years old, so, you know.
24 years with DNY. Wow.
I know. It's crazy.
So when you started 24 years ago, did you ever think to yourself, this is it? This is where I'm going to spend the rest of my professional career?
Never. Not based on the company or anything to that effect. Just because I was straight out of college, I thought, yeah, this is going to be, you know, where I start out, and who knows what the future will hold. And even at the time, I'm the kind of person where I get bored easily. And I thought, you know, maybe 3 to 5 years on to the next thing. And lo and behold, here we are at 24. So I've had, in this business, there's never a dull moment. The only consistency is change, which works well for me. So, and I've had the opportunity to grow with the company, so that's also held my interest.
So it's the ever-changing environment that's kept it fresh for you all these years.
You bet. Every day's a new day.
And it's almost like you anticipated my question. I was going to say, if you could name just one thing that's kept you here at DNY, what would that be? And is it that change?
It's the change. It's the people. It's the company. You know, if one of those things weren't a positive, then, yeah, I would have sought out different avenues. But it's a great company. The people I've worked with have been above par. So, I mean,
they're above average.
Yeah.
They're better than okay.
They're much better than okay. So, and that's not everywhere.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. Mm-hmm. So, at any time during your tenure, did you ever have a moment, like a crossroads, where you considered exploring a different career path? Maybe you had an offer, you decided to stay here. Was there anything like that took place over that 24-year period of time?
Sure. There were many times I considered either going back to school or maybe doing a different avenue, but when I got right down to it and thought through it, I couldn't think of anything that I would enjoy more at the end of the day.
Well, that's pretty terrific.
Yeah.
That's a glowing recommendation of DNY.
Absolutely.
So, obviously, the health scare, Freudian slip, the healthcare landscape, ever evolving, right? We're seeing so many changes. What are some of the major shifts that you've witnessed in the locums industry during your time period here?
Well, everything is cyclical. I mean, in the beginning, I was with anesthesiology, and I was in CRNAs. I was in that department for 10 years, and it went gangbusters. And, you know, when there's a shortage, we're in high demand. And then since there's a shortage, rates go up. Then more people start going into residency. Then all of a sudden there's not a shortage. And then it gets overrun with physicians. They stop going to residency. Then you have a shortage. So everything's cyclical. So certainly I've seen the cycle through with it. I've seen a time where locums weren't as in high of demand. I've transitioned to other specialties and kind of seen those be hot for a minute and then go, and then come back around again.
So right now, you talk about locums being in demand. What do you say to a client who tells you, we can't afford locums right now?
The quick answer is you can't afford not to have locums, but no, I wouldn't say that.
But no, explain that.
Absolutely. That would be the short answer, but then the long answer would be basically you can't afford to shut the doors. It costs more to shut the doors and or to not see patients than it does to bring on a locums provider. A locums provider will give the facility or the office practice, whatever it is we're providing coverage for, the ability to continue seeing patients. If the door's closed, if I were a patient, I might think to myself, that won't be my first stop. What if they're going to be closed again? I'm going to find somewhere else that's more consistent. So, they can provide that continuity of care that they otherwise wouldn't have.
So with what you're seeing right now, I know locums use is sort of, it hit a little bit of a decline market-wise. Is that, and so, were people, are healthcare facilities making do with fewer doctors, or are they hiring more full-time?
So everybody's goal is to not use locums. So certainly every single facility that we staff or our practice, their ultimate goal is to not use us. We're the necessary evil, if you will. So we go in there with that mindset and realize that that's going to be the case. And, the market changes depending on the specialty. So it's different for each specialty as to why it changes. You can look at ER. It can be issues with legislation. It can be issues with patient care, urgent care is on the rise, and freestanding EDs. Therefore, not as many patients are going into EDs, or the reimbursement's down, and they're having to get creative with their staffing to save a few dollars. So that can definitely affect the locums usage.
Sure. So what, over the course of the 24 years, to this point, what has been the most rewarding aspect of doing the job that you do?
I think it's the relationships that you form with the physicians, with the clients, with the staff here in the office in these four walls. It's being able to make those connections and have those long-term friendships, and be able to help the families make a living, hear about their kids growing up or their family members and what's going on, and or to know that you helped a facility or an office be able to carry on continuity of care and coverage.
Sure. Well, it's interesting you talk about coworkers and family, and I could hear them in the background.
Yes.
That sounded like your team members, Caitlin and Nicole, living the good life.
That's right.
Having a chuckle. So
we work hard and we play hard.
Well, that's absolutely. So if I can make it another 24 years myself, personally, I might be able to afford retirement. What's your advice to me if I want to stick around here at DNY?
Perseverance, tenacity.
Perseverance and tenacity?
You bet.
I don't know that I've got that in me, Sharon.
How about a positive outlook?
Okay, well, that I can do.
And that you can muster, huh?
I think so. Well, thank you for taking a few minutes to talk to me about everything. I know, congratulations again. I just think that's amazing. You might be the only person I know who has worked at one place for that long a period of time, and I think
might be as well, aside from my father.
It's just outstanding. It's unheard of in this day and age. So
my friends are in awe and go, "You're still at that same job?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Yes, I am.
That's awesome. It's definitely something to be proud of, and I think it speaks volumes about your character and also about DNY and what type of place it is to work. So thank you very much. I appreciate it, and I hope to talk to you again soon.
Thanks so much.